$4.3 million. That's how much has been pledged, at least as of recording, for Cyberpunk 2077, the board game. Now, if you're not already one of those nearly 21,000 backers that they have, or maybe you're skeptical of what the game is doing, or you might just want to know more about the game, you've come to the right place. When I found out that I was going to get a chance to play the game back at Gen Con, I had mixed emotions. On one hand, this is the next game from Lucas Wozniak. This is the person behind The Witcher Old World, one of my favorite games in recent memory. So, admittedly, my expectations were pretty high. On the other hand, I'd heard that the game had some sort of timer involved. I wasn't sure if it was real time or anything like that, but suffice it to say, I was a little bit nervous. Real time in board games is not usually my cup of tea. So when I got to the demo, Lucas was there and I candidly asked him, I said, Lucas, I'm pretty skeptical of this whole timer thing. Have you considered an alternative for people who wanted a more cerebral or thoughtful experience? And he just looked at me with that sly grin and said, let's try the demo. Well, fast forward to a couple hours later after playing the prologue and chatting a little bit about how the rest of the game would unfold, and my skepticism not only disappeared, but I was 100% convinced that using a timer was absolutely the right design choice. Cyberpunk 2077 is a fast-paced, cooperative, tactical action game that has you playing through branching scenarios with rounds made up of 2 alternating phases. The first phase of each round is the timed part, and it's called the sequential timed action phase. This has players rapidly taking their turns and playing a single card to get things done. Moving, attacking, opening doors, looting bodies, completing objectives, you get the idea. The second phase is called the cooldown. This is where players get to take as long as they want to see what they accomplished, reveal some of the things they picked up, and probably most importantly, discuss their plans for the next round. Today, I want to point out a few things the game does in both of those phases to make it work as a timed experience and succeed as a true action game. First of all, this is not traditional real-time in the sense that it's not happening simultaneously. Players at the table are taking turns. That's all just timed. This immediately encourages more structured communication. Players are going to naturally want to narrate their turns so that they can say, I'm done, and the next player can get going. It also gives players enough time to take a look at their cards and determine what they're going to do on their next turn. It can move pretty quickly around the table, especially at 2 players, but at 3 and 4, you'll have a little bit of time to determine which card you want to play on your next turn. Which brings me to the next thing that really makes all of this work. On your turn, you're just playing one single card and doing the things on that card. The card you play is effectively powered by the skill shards you have in that card's color. Skill levels start here for most, if not all, missions, but you can collect quite a few skill shards as you play. So depending on your current skill in a certain color, you'll be able to do more with a card. For example, if I played this blue card, I could do these things on my turn. But if I played a red card, I could do all these things. And those things are all the movement, attacking, and interacting that you're going to do out on the main board. At the beginning of a mission, turns are kind of limited since your skills are low. But as you gain skill shards, your turns get more and more rewarding. And you'll have a little bit more experience actually playing the game, so those extra actions feel a little bit more manageable. The game also makes it very easy to manage all the components on the table. Everything you're doing during the time phase usually just takes a quick touch. Find an item in a hallway, just grab it and drop it on your player board. Don't even look at it, that comes later. Attack an enemy, quickly determine the damage, and dial it down just as fast. Loot a body, take the piece off the board, and worry about it later too. They've really streamlined as many of these things as possible so that the action keeps moving and feels like action without getting bogged down with complicated rules. This not only keeps the pace of the game where you'd want it, but also makes it feel very thematic. If you were in a real firefight running around grabbing things, picking them up, you might wait until you're out of danger to take a look. And this is what makes the cooldown phase so much fun. Flipping over tokens to see what you picked up. Maybe it's a skill shard. Find out that one of the bodies that you'd looted had a new weapon that you can use, which brings along with it custom dice. But most of all, just take a breath and talk over with the entire team your plans for the next timed phase. As you progress through missions, they will require more cooperation and coordination, and this is when you do that. The timed phase and the cooldown just complement each other really well. I think separating those two types of fun is what makes the game work so well. One without the other, I don't think would be as much fun, and that's why this has me reconsidering my entire position on timed gameplay. So yeah, at least for me, my skepticism feels like it's been squashed from my experience with the game. With that said, I will reserve judgment on the full game until I get a chance to play it, but I am optimistic. If you have any questions at all about the game, please make them in the comments below. I'll get down there and talk to you about whatever you'd like. The game is a bold design choice, and I think it bears further discussion. Until next time, though, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.